Oh, fuck. What a week. What a week. Wow. Feels like we just got off the crazy train. God bless you, Ozzy Osbourne, by the way. Hey, everybody. Checker here. Welcome to a brand new episode of the Couch Racing Chronicles. We just got back from Dover, and we have a lot to talk about today. And we got to go further deep into a rainy and sunny shit show, but we'll get to a lot of that. And we'll have a lot of topics to talk about. But I'm not alone, of course. Let's introduce the crew.
What's up, everybody? My name is Shani. I am the ginger crackhead of a William Byron fan of this podcast.
Yeah, emphasis on the crackhead part.
Yes.
I am Sunny. I am the Kyle Busch diehard of this group. Welcome to you to the podcast.
What's up, everybody? AJ here, Team 17 admin, as always, and the co-host of the show. And we are unfortunately down a person today. ISO is not here. She is dealing with some personal stuff. So in honor, or let me rephrase that, in her place today will be Channy. And we appreciate him as always, even though he's just a little bitch half the time.
Wow. I could just leave this podcast right here, right now, and end the recording.
No, you
That
won't.
was decided long ago when you picked Garrett Smithley for the win.
Oh, go fuck yourself!
As always, we appreciate Chandler for stepping in for ISO. But we got a lot to talk about today. We just got back from Dover?
Yes.
Yeah, Dover.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I forgot. I had a brain fart for a minute. Xfinity Series and Cup Series were at Dover this weekend. Connor Zilic won on Sunday. Wow. Connor Zilic won on Saturday. The race was rain shortened. And I'll tell you what, real quick, before we talk about Sunday, that kid is on a roll, man. I mean, literally, he just turned 19 on the 22nd, which, ironically enough, is the anniversary date for the release date for the first Cars movie. So, Sonny, I gotta ask, since you're a big fan of that movie, do we think he's Lightning McQueen?
If so, then who is this Chick Hicks?
Who knows?
Austin Hill?
Austin Hill.
Same thing. That's great.
Chick Hicks was solo Austin Hill.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, but no, on a serious note, Connor Zilic had a very dominant car. I didn't really watch Xfinity race because I wasn't really feeling too good that day. But from what I heard, he had a really dominant car. The JRM cars were definitely elite that day. And I think the race was called for rain officially on lap 135. And, I mean, Sonny, did you watch the race on Saturday? Was it pretty then?
I think it was all right. Yeah. I caught like a little bit of it, and for the most part, it was pretty tame.
So you're just your typical, your typical racing at Dover type of deal?
Yeah.
Okay, I gotcha. And then we go on to Sunday. Denny Hamlin won in double overtime. We'll talk about that later, obviously, but okay. In all fairness, though, I'd rather have Denny Hamlin win right now than have a new winner, and then we'd be completely screwed as far as points go. But, I mean, that's neither here nor there. Also, whoever gagged, fuck you. Okay, no surprise, Mr. Denny Hamlin hater over there. Anyway, so how was everybody's weekend? Let's go to Sunny first.
It was a weekend. We weren't good, but we also weren't bad. It was a normal race. Completely normal race that we finished 11th in, which I think is good. I don't know anymore. I'll get into this in just a bit.
So you're basically saying that was basically a reminiscence of Dale Jr. and Lance McGrew.
Yes. We weren't good. We weren't good enough to compete, but we also weren't completely in the back. We were stuck in the middle.
Over that.
Yeah.
Us on Sunday, nothing really crazy happened, but don't you dare fucking say it. We were stuck in the 20s most of the day. Somehow we were able to come back. We finished in the top 10, which I'm very happy for. And, the fact that we didn't have any practice or qualifying on Saturday didn't really help anything. So we couldn't really couldn't really make out what was going to happen with the car. So there was a whole lot of unknowns going into Sunday, right? And I had my biggest concern especially was we had a new tire, as I mentioned last week. My main concern was how was this tire going to fall off? How are these tires going to work on this surface, right? I think I would personally say, despite everything that had happened, it was your typical run race. I mean, yeah, couldn't really pass. I mean, not a whole lot going on. A lot of green flag runs, but I mean, that's Dover, right? I mean, it is what it is, and I think we knew this going into this weekend. But I mean, I think after that caution for rain and that rain shower moved through, I feel like it was like a flip. It was like a light, a light switch flipped, and then just all hell just broke loose. Which I don't know why, but every time it fucking rains, that's what usually happens. But we'll talk about that in a minute, obviously. But Mr. Checker, how was your weekend, sir?
Um, that's a good question. Like, that's a great question. Outside the track, outside of NASCAR, dog shit. But if we're talking about just NASCAR, um, I think we've had an up and down, day on Sunday. Blaney, I'm really shocked how Blaney got a top. I'm really not, but at the same time, I'm surprised Blaney got a top 10. I'm actually happy about it. I'm more impressed by Brad coming in with that top 10 finish, surprisingly. I'm just Bell. Oh my god, that was such a mess.
So
Literally,
I need to say
yeah.
something about that for a second. I apologize. I have a question for all of you.
I can only imagine.
So for those here who have listened to Go Bumper Clear in the past, do you guys remember when someone called in into DBC and they called Kyle Larson? You know Kyle Larson's nickname is Young Money. Remember when someone called in and said that his nickname was going to be Hung Money because he steps on his dick a lot? I think that's the case of Christopher Bell this weekend, and I mean that with all due respect. Christopher Bell's really talented. Do not get me wrong when I say this, but man, he could not just get off his dick, like literally. Um, but then again, I mean, I looked back at the replay at both instances. I apologize, Checker. The track bottomed out in the first spin, and I feel like with the second one, he just got arrow loose. Am I, Sonny? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, yeah. The first spin is just that the track and car bombing out, and then the second one that's just a really that's just really hard racing, going for the win, and then getting loose off the corner and spinning out. But both times, amazingly, kept it off the wall with no damage. So I'll give him
Yeah.
props.
Yeah, of course. And he's very talented when it comes to that, for sure. But I think in that instance, I've heard a lot of people say, oh, Denny touched him. No, he did not touch him. I think it was more of an arrow thing. Um, More so the car just got arrow loose. Anyway, sorry, I just wanted to say that really fast. Continue, Checker.
Yeah, no, I was really like disappointed. I was like, man, it was a really good day with that 22, but it was a good day with that 20 as well. But I'm not gonna lie, we'll rebound. I hope we'll rebound. I know we will. But overall, I'd say Sunday was okay. Besides the rain and the sun mixing together like a concoction. But that's how my weekend went.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we all did fairly well. Um, Two out of the three RFK cars got a top 10. Brad and Chris both. Brad finished 10th, Chris finished ninth, which that's pretty good because both of them were actually in the 20s for most of the day. So good for them. Ryan Preece was actually on track to have a top 10 as well, but I think he got involved in that last caution. I'm not sure, but that was unfortunate because he was going to have a good day too and ended up 19th. So it is what it is, but we got a couple tracks coming up here in a couple weeks that all three cars I think are going to do very well. Indy probably going to be one of them, if I'm being honest, because Brad, especially, he's one of the Brickyard. He's very good there. Chris, I mean, I think we would have had a shot to have a top 10, top 5 car last year had it not been for the two tire failures we had, and just the whole world just crumbling down on us. So, I mean, before I get into this, I gotta mention that Chris is actually running a Diet Cherry Coke car with Kroger this week, and my God, that car is beautiful.
Cherry Coke supremacy.
Yes, yes, yes. I am all for that. I am 100% all for that. But you know, I gotta say something. Kroger has been, they've been doing a really good job with these paint schemes with RFK this year, and I think this is easily probably my favorite Kroger paint scheme we've seen this year. Because I'm pretty sure all of you guys have seen the paint scheme already. It's got this, this red with this. It's got this like this 1980s vibe to it. It's a really cool paint scheme. I'm very happy that it came out as well as it did, and I really hope that car does very good this weekend. And Chris is plus 44 to the good right now. I feel really good about where we are points wise, but I feel like we need to start rounding off some wins here. And we got a couple tracks coming up. I feel like they're going to be really good. So anyway, Mr. Channy, how was your weekend, sir?
William Byron, DNF.
Oof, another DNF for William Byron. Let's talk about that for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I need to say something about that. I didn't even know he DNF. Wait, when did he DNF?
The second bell spin.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. I forgot. So let's talk about that for a minute. I want to talk about the Hendrick cars especially. I was talking to Sonny about this, but real quick, I wanted to say something about Byron before I say what I want to say about Chase Elliott. What is going on with William Byron? Like, he has not been the same since his Daytona 500 win. Am I the only one who is noticing this?
I mean, even with the 500, he was in seventh entering the final lap. So, really, if that last lap wreck doesn't happen and they finish the way they are, we're looking at a winless William Byron, which is alien to me because Byron's one of the actual drivers that should be competing for a championship right now, racking up wins and championships. He had the consistency, but now it feels like the summer stretch, it's gone.
Yeah, and I think they have struggled immensely since that 500 win. Because I feel like they've had a shot to win multiple races this year, and either something has happened on pit road or they get the bad end of the deal, right? And that's kind of unfortunate because the only really good Hendrick car right now is, I can't believe I'm saying this, is Chase Elliott and Alex Bowman.
Exactly. Like the two drivers that were considered the lesser of the two. For a long time, it was Byron and Larson that were the ones winning races, but now it seems like the two of them have fallen off the face of the earth, and Elliott and Bowman are taking up in their place.
Which is kind of a shocker, right? And I feel like with, Larson especially, first and foremost, I have no disrespect to Kyle Larson when I say this, but did you guys see the paint scheme he's running this weekend?
Yeah, it's his double car.
Right. Listen, I mean this with all due respect, but that paint scheme has brought him nothing but bad luck. And I personally am not a fan of it on the Cup car. On the Indy car, it was cool, right? I'm all for that. But running it on the Xfinity car, because he is running the Xfinity race on Saturday, and running it on the Cup car, I'm not too thrilled about it, right? But yeah. So let's move on to Chase Elliott for a second. So I was listening to the Dale Jr. download a couple nights ago, and there was a pretty immense discussion going on about how Chase Elliott could have won the race if he did not pit when the caution for rain came out. So my question to Sonny especially, do you think if Chase had not given up that track position to pit under the yellow, do you feel like he would have had a shot to fight it out with Denny for the win?
Absolutely. Like most of the day, other than Christopher Bell, Elliott was the fastest car right now off the track. So what we know now about that tire, in which the track position will be more preferable and the fall off wouldn't do damage to a guy leading the race in a long stint, then I don't see any reason why Elliott wouldn't be able to compete for the win if he stayed out. So they still got I think they got third or something. They still got really solid result, but with the day they had, you would have thought they would have brought home the W.
Yeah, no doubt. And I want to talking about Chase for a second. I want to point something out that I heard on the download talking about Chase Elliott. Dale made a really good point about this, and I'm not saying this to kiss Dale Jr.'s ass by any means, but he made a really good point about Chase. Chase has not been the same as a driver ever since he had that leg injury while he was snowboarding in 2023. Is this the sign, and I want to ask all of you this especially, is this a sign that we're potentially seeing the prime Chase Elliott back? With this next gen he's starting to finally figure it out, and his luck is finally starting to turn around. I mean, he won at Atlanta a couple weeks ago. Is this the sign that we could finally see Chase Elliott start racking off some wins here in the next couple weeks?
A couple of years ago, I wouldn't have thought this, but ever since that injury happened, Elliott has been learning to redrive the next gen, learning to get back into that rhythm, and learning to get himself back into that winning contention again. And the last 2 seasons, Elliott has been probably the most consistent driver. He rarely has a bad day or a DNF, and even if he does, it's usually very limited, and he comes back the next day with a very solid finish. So my personal thoughts, if Elliott can convert more of those consistency into victories like they almost did at Dover, and they build up playoff points and they get that momentum needed, there's a good possibility they may be able to return to Phoenix. Because last year they were about 1 spot short of going back to Phoenix and winning at Martinsville. So if they get more wins, they get more playoff points, they maintain that consistency, and Elliott just keeps getting a hold of that next gen again, and the luck goes on their side. I think we could see him in the Final Four again.
He's definitely a solid Final Four pick for me right now, as it is. The way things are going. It's just my personal opinion is the biggest thing they need to clean up right now is pit road and the pit road calls. Alan Gustafson is a very talented crew chief, and I mean this with all due respect, but he is very stubborn when it comes to a lot of things. And we were having a discussion about this last night in Zach's server, and Alan is kind of stuck in his ways. And I've noticed this, especially with the next gen. And I get it, it's fine, but at the same time, you need to be a little more realistic here and say, hey, we need to do something here. What the fuck is going on out there?
What the hell?
It's a fire. It sounds like a fire truck and ambulance just went by and scared the shit out of me. Sorry about that. Sorry. Anyway, no, I feel like Alan definitely needs to loosen up a little bit, and that's just me as a fan. And I mean, there's no doubt about it. He's a really smart crew chief, and he knows what he's doing. But some of the calls he's made this year and even last year have been very controversial, in my opinion. Do you feel the same way, Sonny?
Yeah. They have a speed. It's just a lot of the strategy gets thrown away, and it takes away what could have been a chance at a win.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And it's also the fact too of, it's like whenever there's a late race caution, and Alan is trying to think of the right call to execute on pit road, it just gets thrown away, and it's like he just says, "Fuck it, I give up." Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's how I feel about Chase. I mean, I feel like he's starting to finally get back to form. Too, he's starting to finally get back into his rhythm after the double. Which, I mean, I mentioned it before. He hasn't really been the same, and he did not qualify. His metric was not good on Saturday. So to see him to go up from 25th to, I think he finished 4th or 5th. That's still a very good day, despite everything that's happened in the last couple weeks. So good to see him finally start to get back onto his rhythm. Yeah, and then I wanted to point this out before we get into green flag, red flag. Sonny, we need to have a discussion, man.
Yeah.
So I saw a clip on Twitter that Richard Childress was making some comments about at the end of the race on the radio to Kyle Busch's team and Austin Dillon's team both, that they said he's seen enough out of both drivers. We need to start getting some race cars. What are your thoughts on
You
that?
know what? I can't keep this going anymore. I tried being patient. I tried being optimistic. I tried holding outs for improvement, but I think I'm finally ripping the Band-Aid off. We are terrible. Like, almost completely terrible. And I mean, like, seeing him calling out that we need to be better. I appreciate you putting that motion in, but where was that call last year? Where was that wake up call last year when we were absolutely terrible? Oh yeah, that's right. Austin Dillon won Richmond, so I guess everything's all hunky dory. He does have a point though. It's the team needs drastic improvements, and really it just starts with a lot of things, and that there's just so much that needs turning around, it putting the ship back in the right direction. And since we're on this topic of discussion, I think I'm just gonna be genuinely honest here regarding Kyle Busch. I really, really don't want to be the person that puts us down ourselves like this, but unless we get like the greatest car of all time, or the team turns around immensely, or if we get if we get a way faster ride, I think our championship window is closed.
Well,
Like
how many points are you? How many points are you guys out right now?
About 39 points. So that's like roughly about a win.
So you guys are probably going to be in must-win territory.
If we have another bad race, then yeah, we're pretty much going to be in that territory.
You were saying though?
What was I saying? Okay, I remember. Yeah, it's if it speaks to an alarming level if the races I'm looking forward to, that I believe we have the most shot of winning, are the super speedway races. I want to have a car that is able to perform anywhere, really good anywhere. Not even superstar great, just a really respectable day. But right now we've had glimpses, but that's it. They're only glimpses, not full on consistency. We need consistency, and really, I'm just holding out. I'm just holding out to the hope that we get a win one last time. It doesn't even have to be like for a championship or like freaking return to glory. Just one more time. Just to validate the turmoil I've been through these past 2 years, and to make everything feel complete.
Yeah,
It can be anywhere. What's up?
No, I was just saying that's understandable.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing I want to mention about this is, I mean, I still believe RCR does have glimpses of speed, like you mentioned, but it's more so focused on the plate tracks, right? And RCR has always been really good and had a really good deal with this next gen on the plate tracks. But my concern is they need to work on their short track stuff, especially road course stuff. They have a very decent package with what they got. I mean, look at what happened at Coda. I mean, I feel like
Right.
so I feel like that's fine, and that car was untouchable that day. But mostly, he has struggled immensely on mile and a half and short tracks.
Exactly.
So I mean, it is what it is, and it's very unfortunate. But yes, I do agree. They need to start. They need to start turning it around like today. So I want to propose an offer to that. And that offer is we need to start making some crew changes on the 8 pit box, especially. You know, Randall Burnett is a very smart crew chief, and I mean this with all due respect. But we need to put someone. They need to put someone like Rodney Childress on the pit box to help turn that team around. Rodney.
That's. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I was picking some water. Rodney is a very talented crew chief. There is no doubt about it. He's a very smart crew chief. He has dug SHR with Kevin Harvick out of a hole for the most part. So he knows. I feel like he would be a very good candidate for that situation. Do I feel like he would do it? Probably not, because I don't think he wants a repeat of what happened at Spire. And I don't really know the details of what happened at Spire that made him, say, "Hey, I can't do this," type of thing. But I feel like there was a lot more to it than a lot of people know, right? And I feel like with RCR, there's something going on at the shop that we don't know about that is causing them to struggle. And I feel like it has something to do with the OEM with Chevy, right? Because, Chevy doesn't have, they still have the Camaro body, but it's still, it's not a Camaro. So do we feel like in the next, I mean, it's not going to happen immediately, but do we feel like in the next couple of years, could this be a sign that Chevy could be phased out and then, have Cadillac come in to take over for Chevy's part on the GM OEM side?
That would be very mysterious, because that's like a big thing to grapple. Like a very familiar and very known OEM within the NASCAR world, probably the most iconic one in the modern era. But I don't know. It's just, that's like a heavy thing to think about. And the question is, if that happens, would Cadillac provide a better run for like all of its supporting teams, or what teams would go to Cadillac, whether it be from the Chevrolet camp, or do they get another team to go over and switch OEMs? So it's a lot of unknowns considering that, and we'll have to find out if they would get it for the better.
Right, exactly. But I don't see that happening immediately. This would be in like 2+ years, right? Because you still have Dodge coming to the sport, and then you have supposedly Honda coming to the sport too, which we've mentioned before. But my thing about it is, I feel like a lot of the Chevy teams right now, unless they don't switch the Dodge, I feel like they would be a very strong candidate for, Cadillac to come to the sport. RCR probably would be the hard. RCR and Hendrick would probably be the big two out of that, in my opinion. Our Hendrick would really thrive under Cadillac, right? So that's just my opinion. But back to this RCR deal for one more second, then we'll get to green flag, red flag. I think Kyle still has the potential to have one more win, whether it be at Daytona or Talladega in the fall. I feel like he's going to have this completely fluke run at a random track, and he's going to get that win. I just have faith. I've seen it for myself. It happened with Junior years ago. It can happen. Just, you got to be really good, make no mistakes, and hope to God you have a really good car, right? So I wouldn't lose hope yet, but I understand the feeling all too well.
Yeah. That's really the mindset. It's either we don't win or something happens and we just Joey Logano our way into a third title, which is very unlikely, but it would cure my depression.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But
all right,
note,
everyone. Oh, sorry. I keep talking over you. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. On that note, English, I cannot speak it apparently. Are we ready to get into some green flag, red flag?
Are you missing a segment?
I was just saying, are you missing one? Look closely.
It's Ask AJ.
Do we really have to though?
I mean,
No, I'm just kidding. As always, yes, I did forget a segment because funny night shift smooth brain. Let's get into Ask AJ real quick. So, as always, these three idiots get to ask me a question. So, I feel like I know who the first person I want to ask that wants to ask me a question. Go for it, Channy.
Okay. So my question is, what is your favorite NASCAR Twitter moment?
Oh my god, I was just talking to somebody about that last night. So, I was just talking to somebody about this in Zach's server last night, but oh, Checker and Sonny are gonna remember this very well. So back in 2021, when Kurt Busch won in Atlanta, I called into Reaction Theater on DVC in the Anchor app, crying my ass off because Kurt Busch won. Now, the context behind this is the day before Kurt Busch won in Atlanta, me and my ex-girlfriend had a downfall, and we had broken up, and it hit me really hard personally, and that moment kind of healed some massive wounds for a couple minutes, right? And my dumb ass thought it was a good idea to call into Reaction Theater and react to that, and it made Reaction Theater on the episode of DVC. And let it be known, I got roasted by literally half of Twitter because Brett Griffin said I needed a Xanax. I mean, I know Brett Griffin can be kind of an asshole, but that was actually pretty funny. But yeah, that's probably one of my favorite NASCAR Twitter moments. One of my other favorites is when this one's pretty good too. Checker, do you remember back in the day in the old server you used to make memes?
Yes, I do.
Do you remember the time you do you remember the time you made the Santa Claus shitting in the chimney meme?
Oh no! We literally was sitting. Literally, we were just sitting down, talking about that, and I found that meme. Literally, and I shared it after an episode after we were done behind the scenes. And I remember you're just like, you looked at me. You literally looked at me in the eyes, and you said, "What the fuck were you making back then?"
No, here's the funny thing, because do you remember? I can't find it anywhere nowadays, but someone took that meme, the blank copy of that meme, and said Joey Logano winning at Talladega be like.
True.
Oh shit! I wish I still had that meme. That was actually really funny. But Checker Sonny, do you want to ask a question?
Jenny?
Yeah.
Danny already asked a question.
Yeah, I already asked the question.
Oh crap. I'm sorry. Check.
Dumbass!
I'm sorry, okay?
Hey, listen, we all have short-term memory loss in our years. But anyways, okay, this is actually a good question. Okay, let's just say for one race, it could be any race. If you could pick one celebrity to be a spotter for Chris Buescher, I don't care what race it is. Which celebrity would it be? Spotting for Chris Buescher one race.
Funny enough, we had this discussion before in a server I was in. I think this was in Zach's server, if I remember correctly, or this was a YouTube video I saw. But my answer is Morgan Freeman.
You gotta go up the list. You gotta go up top.
I want God spotting for me. Are you kidding me?
I mean, that's a 10 out of 10 strategy. He'll take the wheel.
You gotta cover the bottom.
Watch out for this.
You're clear.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Chris, I am God.
And I am Prosper, Texas.
No, on a serious note, no. Probably Morgan Freeman is definitely up there. Close second. Unfortunately, my answer would have been Hulk Hogan, but as always, as we know, unfortunately, Hulk Hogan did pass away today at the age of 71. I was going to mention this at the end of the podcast, but he will definitely be missed. But for the longest time, that was my answer, and yeah. But another one would probably have to be Tom Cruise.
You got the Days of Thunder guy.
You gotta drop the hammer. No, you don't. That's a good movie. That is a really good movie. And for those who have never seen Days of Thunder, you are not a real NASCAR fan. Well, obviously these two, besides Sonny here, I need to sit them down and show them that movie because that's actually one of my favorite NASCAR movies of all time.
Nah, I don't really feel like.
Okay, I guess you'll miss out on a funny sex scene. Anyways.
Where do I sign? Where do I sign?
It's not even that serious, y'all.
Oh, well, whoops, Checker just got exposed. Well, it's over, chat.
Y'all are dirty-minded.
Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little bit. Anyways, Sonny, did you have a question?
Oh, I got it.
Oh, no.
Okay. Your favorite pre-race moments, whether it be an invocation or a command.
You already know the answer to this one. You damn well already know what my answer is going to be to this one.
Oh, yeah.
Nashville in the Xfinity race in 2011 with the fucking preacher. My God, was that invocation awesome. In Jesus' name, boogity, 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 amen. Yes, that is one of my favorite invocations of all time. Lord, I want to thank you all for my smoking hot wife, and I'm just sitting there like, what?
I would be if that happened again during a live race, we would all be collectively losing our minds, trying not to break character.
Bro, no, the funny part was when I watched that race, because I used to watch all the Xfinity races and the truck races live. I remember sitting with my dad in the living room of my dad's house, and we were watching that Xfinity race. And I'll never forget when I heard that from the invocation, from the pastor. I heard him say that, and I go to my dad. I'm like, "Did he just really say that?" And he's like, "Yeah, he did." I'm like, "That's pretty fucking funny." But no, a lot of drivers got a kick out of that. Probably one of my other favorite moments is oh my God. Probably another one of my favorite moments is when that's tough. When Dale Jr. gave the command to start the engines in the 2018 Daytona 500. That one was he did a really good job with that. And I remember the funny part about that was the old server we were in. He who shall not be named took that invocation, or took that command, and instead of the car starting on the background, he did the ha sound, and it was just too fucking great. Man, some good old memories there for sure. But yeah, that's probably my answer to that. Now, can I please say, can we finally get into green flag, red flag?
Yes, you can.
All right. Are we ready to get into green flag, red flag, gentlemen?
I am.
Yes, we are. Your patience is rewarded, gentlemen.
No, I'm going to bed. Good night. No.
I wouldn't be surprised at this point because, yeah, this has gone on a little longer than it should have, and I apologize for that. So, with that being said, go for it, Channy.
All right. The first topic of green flag, red flag. The city of Chicago announced last week that the Chicago street course. Let me try that one more time. The city of Chicago announced last week that the Chicago street course will not return in 2026. A street course is being announced to be ran in San Diego in its place, and plans are for it to happen on Coronado Naval Base.
Yeah, Coronado Naval Base. So before we start the green flag, red flag on that topic, it was confirmed yesterday that they will be going there for Father's Day weekend. Go ahead, Channy.
NASCAR also announced they will not be returning to Mexico City. Green flag, red flag. Let's go with Sonny on this one.
All right. I think a lot of these are just. I think this whole entire topic, I'm just yellow flag because on one hand, I really enjoyed the racing, And the new festivities, especially with the Chicago one, since we actually had our first dry race there, and we actually got to a full distance, and I really wish I could have had more time. But at the same time, like I understand, I really understand why they had to go, because these were just either logistic nightmares or freaking chaos at barn burners. Like the Chicago for Chicago's case, it seems like every year we tried to go there, it rained. It was raining. There were big pileups and traffic jams. We never really got a full race in. It was a mess that we usually go there, and considering this is a city race and a street race in the city and not like an actual racetrack, it was understandable why the city wouldn't want to renew. I'm hoping that doesn't fall onto San Diego either. And in Mexico's case, that was that was NASCAR just trying something new, and I really appreciate it. And I really hope that we get some sort of return in the international market and in Mexico City. But from what I heard, there was we had a whole we had our Mexico episodes talking about all the events and all of the tomfoolery and the no stuff about the drivers and teams in Mexico. So I could imagine why they don't exactly want to pull that trigger again. So it's just a giant yellow flag for me. Like I feel bad because I feel like we could have seen more racing, but I understand why they had to get cut off because these are hard to plan out.
Yeah, I am green flag on this. More so because I'm not really too big on the Chicago street course, and I never really have been. Do I think the Chicago street course race we had this year was good? Yeah, it was okay, but it wasn't. It wasn't. It didn't strike a nerve for me. So I feel like this comes down to um, more of logistics. It would be more logistically possible to take a team out of North Carolina to San Diego in 3 days, right? I feel like that's more doable than taking 4 or 5 days to go to Mexico, which that's unfortunate because that Mexico City race was actually fairly decent. But I feel like this is more so, hey, I don't think we can do this realistically in the amount of time we're allotted with a race, in Michigan the week before, Michigan, then prepping to go to Mexico. It's just, I don't think they thought it was feasible to do it again. So good on NASCAR for that. As far as going to San Diego, I'm also green flag for that too. We're going back to SoCal. We haven't been to California since 2023. So this is a good opportunity to, revitalize that SoCal or that California fan base as a whole, right? Especially with SoCal, because Fontana was actually a fairly good track, in my opinion. And it's such a shame that it got tore down. So, but as far as racing on a naval base, that's a first, right? I imagine there's going to be a lot of security measures in place to to actually make that happen, which is good. But I don't know how to feel about that just quite yet, right? I mean, we're still about a year-ish out from that happening, which I'm all for it. Do not get me wrong. But my question is, how the hell are we going to put some barriers up on a naval base, right? Because we don't want to run into the risk of the cars falling into the ocean. I think I've heard this a lot from everybody on Twitter this week that's the primary concern, which I don't think it'll happen. I mean, NASCAR Chasm, obviously, Chasm being who he is, made a meme out of it, which was actually pretty funny. But yeah, that's pretty much the only real concern I have. But I wanted to say my next piece, but I'll wait until the next topic. Channing, you did see what I said in the planning chat earlier, right? There is a quote attached to the second topic that I was going to read.
Yeah, I saw it.
Okay, cool. But no, I'm all for this, and I'm all for, San Diego getting revitalized, or I'm sorry, SoCal getting revitalized back into the NASCAR schedule. So I'm green flag. Checker.
Honestly, I'm gonna be 100% honest. I'm gonna go yellow flag. I mean, don't get me wrong. I loved the idea of the Chicago street race for so many years, but then it just kind of got dragged out too much on. Like, it was a great idea. Don't get me wrong. It was just, I think over the years it was kind of like, okay, we need something different, or refreshment.
Mhm.
But honestly, Mexico City was a good idea as well. But again, like Sully said earlier, a lot of things happened in and off the track. Besides, but I wouldn't mind an international um setting. Like hell, we could probably try to go to Montreal sometime in the future. That'd be nice. Besides all that, San Diego. Can't believe we're going to a military base. Are we sure we're not, getting the cargo bob? I'm just saying, realistically, or are we
I was,
not? Wait, what's
I
up?
was waiting for I was waiting for someone to say
It
that.
was it was either gonna be that or they're just gonna kidnap Joey Logano. But
No, no, we are not. No, no, no. We are not having the naval. We are not having the U.S. Navy Marshals kidnap Joey Logano for his 3 championships.
anyways, no, realistically though, I'm really curious on the layout of what they're gonna be doing for San Diego. But it's a great idea. It's a Father's Day. That's gonna be awesome. For next year. But like you've mentioned, many concerns. Of course, the layout's not 100% complete. We're going to obviously know it sometime within the year, but I'm all green flag for that. But I wish we just had a different perplexion for the next few ideas if we decide to do a street race, in a different city or, another international track. That's just me. We just need, like, something that can stick. Like, nothing too repeat, rinse and repeat, but something, nothing too complex, just a different feel.
Yeah, I agree. And my thing about with the street courses, I heard it's supposed to be like an oval layout, so I'm curious to see how that goes. But green flag, red flag, Channy.
Um, I'm just probably gonna say yellow flag for the topic.
Damn, I feel alone because I'm the only green flag here. Really, well, Checker had one for half of the topic, but I feel so alone over here. Why would you guys do this to me? No, I'm just kidding. Next topic.
Wow. Anyways, the next topic. J-Ski and Adam Stern reported last week that NASCAR is evaluating for a possible return to Chicagoland Speedway and said that the chances of a return are increasing.
And there is a quote that follows up to this that says, "While we are currently do not have a timeline or specific series, we do hope to bring NASCAR racing back to Chicagoland Speedway at some point in the future." Green flag, red flag, checker. Ow.
Yes, I knew. I knew. I was waiting for it. So, the equivalent of this, the equivalent of Chicagoland coming back is like the equivalent of CM Punk returning at Survivor Series 2023 in Chicago. But I won't go into more measurements. But I'm excited, honestly, to see if Chicagoland does come back. Obviously, I'm green flag. This is an awesome feel. Obviously, I'm really curious to see how the next gens play out here in Chicagoland and see what just a feel of what's going to be happening. Going into a returning NASCAR track that has been run since like what, like the when COVID started, I think.
2019.
So
2019
yeah,
was the last race at Chicagoland.
so it's been about a good few years. So I'm curious to see how the next gens, of course, play out because obviously you've seen how the next gens perform on some old tracks that have returned, but I'm really curious to see what Chicagoland could bring, to the playing field, with the next gen. Overall, just Chicagoland's a great place. Obviously, it's a great track, but I'm curious to see, what's going to be like. Obviously, I'm curious when it does return, and hopefully, when it does return, we can see how these cars are going to run and see like how many. Let's see how the marketing is for Chicagoland, despite us running Chicago street race for so many years, or like a few years. But besides all that, I'm all up for it. So green flag.
Danny.
I'm actually gonna be green flagging on this because with with the return of the Chicagoland Speedway, um, and the chances of it returning is increasing. I am all in for this, so I gotta say green flag on this.
Sonny?
Sludge up!
God damn it. No, we're not doing this again.
Green flag. I made myself vocal about Chicagoland Speedway coming back. It would fit the next gen, the mile and a half, the racing style. So I have a feeling like if it gets restored, depending on what series is running it, it could take a while to get reacclimated to. But I feel like as it gets back to that worn and just slightly aging, kind of like how New Atlanta is, it'll be a really fun race, a really fun track to drive on.
You know what? I'm going to have to say green flag on this too. I have been a huge advocate for Chicagoland for coming back since 2020, and I'm really curious to see how this. I've said it for years, and I'll say it again. I feel like this car would be really good. Talking about the next gen, I feel like the next gen would be really good at Chicagoland. My only concern is how is this car going to race at Chicagoland in dirty air? Because we already know the next gen is horrible when it comes to dirty air, especially on mile and a halves. But do I feel like I feel like since it's Chicagoland's always been that cookie cutter type of track, I feel like it's going to race like how Kansas races now, right? And how Charlotte races now with the next gen. So other than that, I really don't have any concerns about this. But here's my suggestion. Why don't we put ARCA? Someone put this on Twitter, and I agree with them on this. Why don't we start with ARCA? Just ARCA alone, and just work our way up. And I've seen this condition in Chicagoland. It's not really that great, right? It's not the best in the world. It's not as bad as what North Wilkesboro was before Dale Jr. and Marcus Smith and everyone else did their work to it. But it does need some work, but I feel like it also does need a repave too. My thing is, I don't see Chicagoland racing or having a weekend until probably 2027. Just from the sounds of from what I've been hearing, it's not happening in 2026 because I feel like the track. I feel like it could be done over the winter, but unfortunately, we know how Chicago is during the wintertime. It may not be exactly feasible, but I feel like if they do confirm they're going to add it to the schedule next year, they would have to start working on track restoration like today, because they can't really do it over the winter because, like I mentioned, the Midwest has some very harsh winters, Illinois being one of them. But yeah, I'm all for this. I'm green flag. Why wouldn't I be?
So would you say would you say if they do like with ARCA first, do you think if they do decide to return to National Series, you think they're going to do something very similar to the Xfinity and Truck Series like they did with Rockingham, or what do you think?
Yeah, so that's a good question because I feel like they would. So are you basically asking me? Do you feel like they're going to do it one series at a time?
Basically, I was gonna say, you think they're gonna do something similar like they did with when Rockingham returned this year with Xfinity and Trucks, if they decide to pull the gun on if it does, happen in 2027 or.
Yeah, so that's actually a really good question. I feel like that's exactly what would happen because I think they would want to see how the truck race, the truck races at Chicagoland have usually been pretty good, right? And Xfinity has usually put a clinic there at Chicago too. I feel like that's what they're going to do to lure the Cup Series back to Chicagoland. Because all for we know, they could be racing at Rockingham too in the next 2 or 3 years, right? So I would be all for that. What's old is new again. And I feel like that's exactly what happened. All right, next topic.
All right, this next topic is. Sorry, I was going through Facebook. Matt Tifft is proposing for a return of Prelude to the Dream. Hold on. Yeah, hold on. Let me reread that. Matt Tifft is. Matt Tifft is.
Do you want me to just read it?
Yes, please, because my brain is all over the place right now.
Matt Tifft is proposing for a return to Prelude to the Dream to be held at Mansfield Speedway. Multiple drivers have responded to this or are in favor of this. Green flag, red flag, Sunny.
Checkered flag. Oh my god. I feel like a kid again. Let's do it. Like,
Were you gonna say something else?
no, I mean that's just it. Like, I if we can make it happen, let's make it happen. I'm excited.
So, yeah, and so let me explain to these two because Sonny and I are practically the only ones in here who know about the Prelude to the Dream. So, to make it short and sweet, Prelude to the Dream was a midsummer event that was usually held every year for charity. It was a dirt late model race that all forms of discipline of racing, the drivers from each respectable series were invited to this event every year to basically race, for charity. And it was a very successful program from 2005 all the way up to 2012. Kyle Busch won the last race at Eldora. For years, it was held at Eldora, and I think this would be a good, my case in point when I said with Chicagoland, what's new or what's old is new again. I am definitely green flag for this. I've always enjoyed watching the Prelude to the Dream every year, and there was a great turnout for that. Eldora is not really far, but it's somewhat close to me, so I could actually go there in person if I wanted to. I I want to see it return, and I feel like Mansfield would be a really good. What's the word I'm looking for here? It would be a good feeder program to bring Mansfield back, and Matt Tick has done a really good job in what he's been trying to do to get Mansfield back to life. There were a lot of drivers on board with this. Chris Buescher was one of them, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Leyland Honeyman was one of them. There's a lot of names I saw on Twitter. Chase Briscoe even. I'm sure Christopher Bell would be totally down for this. Kyle Larson. There's a lot of people I could think of that would say, "Hell yeah, let's go do this." It's for a good cause. So I'm all for it. What in my opinion, how we should bring this back. This is just me. Okay, let's take the old Gen 4 ARCA cars and run them at Mansfield in the dirt. That would be fun.
I'm down for
That
that.
would be I because those Gen 4 cars, believe it or not, actually raced somewhat decent in the dirt. So I'm all for it. Why not? Chandy, did you want to say something to this?
Fuck it. Checkered flag.
So you're for it too, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Checker.
Nothing wrong with some good old dirt racing, at Mansfield Speedway. I'm checkered flag. I'm in full support of it. So yeah.
So I do have a question for all of you.
Yes.
If this does come to fruition, what would be a good month to do this? I personally think it would be July.
I would think it
Yeah.
would be nice. I was gonna say it'd be nice. Wait, hold on. Let me check my calendar. Isn't Independence Day on a weekend next year? I think, or sometime weekend.
It's supposed to be on a Saturday, I think.
Well, if that's the case, why don't why don't we do it on Independence Day weekend? That'd be fun, like a 4th of July, like dirt race. That'd be kind of fun.
Well, the problem I have with that is that it might interfere with the Atlanta weekend, depending on how the schedule plays out.
True, but it'd be nice for a summer feel.
It would be cool to have it for a midweek type of race. That would be cool. I'm all for that. Because usually the Prelude to the Dream was always held on, I think it was on Wednesday nights, if I remember correctly, every year. It was usually the middle of the week, before the July 4th race at Daytona, usually. I say usually. But, yeah, I mean, I can't think of one person who would be against this. Like, you're racing for a charity cause. You're racing for a major benefit. And back then it was racing for the Feeding Children of America Foundation. You know what? I have a good proposal for this. The charity we should race for this is the Race to Stop Suicide. And I'm very vocal about this and have been vocal about that for years. Daniel Dye, that's one of his sponsors. I am very vocal about this organization. Were you going to say something, Sonny?
Yeah, I agree.
It's just that this would be very fitting. That or the National the National Breast Cancer Awareness Society. Because those are the two biggest organizations I do support, and I'm all for this. Just racing for a cause and just bringing something back that no points. It was for charity. It was for fun, and it was for a good cause. I'm green flag. Was that everybody in that topic?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was. It was.
Okay, cool. All right. Oh boy. Go ahead, Channy.
NASCAR on SiriusXM made some controversial comments on their broadcast on Tuesday, and when they were talking about the championship format and how it needed to be changed, quote, and there's a driver on that playoff committee screaming for a change, and end quote, and Larry McReynolds said, quote, it's probably a driver who's never won a championship, end quote. Green flag, red flag, AJ.
Oh boy. Twitter burned down over this one too, and rightfully so. I'm red flagged. I mean, this shouldn't have happened. A lot of people were saying this was directed towards Mark Martin, and I can see why that assumption was made, but it was not directed towards Mark Martin by any means. And I feel like they were Daniel Trotta and Larry Mack were both saying that to save their ass, but I don't really want to dive too deep into this because not my business. But no, you cannot be doing this. No, I'm. You can't just say that on the air like that. They're like, oh, we need to move forward in time. Okay, what is this playoff? Let me ask you all a question. I have beaten the dead horse about this playoff format for years. This is why a lot of drivers are rooting for. Well, I know it's not going to happen, but we want the old Winston Cup format back. Yes, I get it. It's not happening though. We need to go back to like the 10 or 12, the 10 to 12 place chase format, right? I was all for that, and we'll die on this hill. This playoff format we've got is ridiculous. We do not need it in NASCAR. I've said it for years. That's all I'm going to say. I'm red flag for all the comments that were made in this episode. Absolutely, just unprofessional, uncalled for, and the fact that Twitter did blow up, and I'm not surprised that they did, but I mean it was for a good reason. But the fact that they were making assumptions that this was about Mark Martin when I don't think it was. Yeah, that was a major drop in the ball there. Like, oof, that was messy. But what if this was about Denny Hamlin and we don't know it, right? What if this was about, I don't know. This would have been, you think about past drivers like Carl Edwards, Dale Jr., Mark Martin, like I mentioned. But this shouldn't have happened. Red flag. Sonny?
I have an idea for a playoff format. I'll freaking end this debate. What if we just held a fan vote at Daytona to crown a champion? No need to run the whole season. We just vote it. We just vote the champion. Cody Ware will win 50 championships in a row.
No.
And then Garrett Smith wins the Xfinity Championship.
No!
Chris Wright, the truck champion.
No!
Okay. I am honestly gaffed at someone who would have the audacity to just utter that out on live radio. Like someone who's never won a champ. Like, what is that supposed to mean? Like,
Dude,
what does that apply?
You know what? No, here's the problem I have with this. It's kind of hypocritical because Larry Mack hasn't won a championship as a crew chief.
Yeah.
So, what was the point in that?
Black flag for me. I'm sorry. Like, what the hell were you thinking?
Like, oof. This whole deal is messy, and I mean, rightfully so, but that was very hypocritical. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Checker, what do you think, buddy?
I'm gonna be 100% real with you. I've only listened to the audio at least a few times. Let's just say first rule of thumb. First rule of thumb in the NASCAR community: don't go on Twitter. That's all I have to say. Second of all, yeah, I don't know. It's just obviously I'm red flag. Of course, it should have never happened. You don't say that. You literally don't go on and say that shit on like live radio. You don't say that. That's just
And not expect a repercussion. Sorry.
oh yeah, no, you just got it right there. But I'm just like, it's so and like you said, what if it's not Mark Martin like mentioned? What if it's somebody else like Denny or anybody else? But that wasn't just oh no, that wasn't just this. That wasn't just all that. I think it was like a follow up tweet or something. I don't remember which the tweet was, but all I know is I think Mark Martin I know replied to that tweet saying no, we don't. I don't remember what tweet it was, but that
It
was
was in
just
response. No, go ahead. Sorry.
no. Continue. I was just gonna say like that was basically like
That
response, and then it just blew up. Everything just blew up. Like
that was in response to Daniel Trotta basically defending herself by saying, hey Mark, we love you and all, but we gotta have this playoff style format. No, the fuck we do not.
and it just
I
started.
agree.
It was gonna say. It
It
was gonna
started
say.
World War III.
It started World War III on Twitter. But
Yeah,
hey,
which
it's Twitter.
Twitter, not surprised. NASCAR Twitter, also not surprised. But no, Mark is 100% correct here, and I agree with him on a lot of this, But, I mean, there was no reason that this should have gone as far as it did. I said the same thing about the 6 and the 54 incident at Sonoma. But, I mean, this is kind of a topic this is a debate that's been going back and forth for years. So, that's just me, though.
But yeah, basically, rule of thumb, literally lesson learned. I've seen this shit plenty of times. If you don't have something, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't fucking say it. It's that simple. I can look at many drivers who use Twitch streams, and have their voice, their opinion. But I won't go into that topic. We've already seen
Of
Mexico
course, most
City.
of our.
Yeah, but you get what I mean, though. If you don't have something nice to say, don't fucking say it. You don't expect, people to come back at you and, start World War III on Twitter, but yeah, in short term, red flag. It should have just never happened.
Danny, I assume you're a red flag to this, too.
Yep.
The size said it all.
Red flag.
You
But-
mind if I read the next topic?
No. I was gonna do something funny, but I'm not sure about you guys. I'm just taking a look over the notes. What the fuck?
Yeah, so about that. The next topic. Cookie Monster will be the Grand Marshal for the Brickyard 400 on Sunday at Indianapolis. Green flag, red flag, Channy.
I'm waving the what the fuck flag. Wait, no.
Blue flag?
No, fuck it. Checker flag, fuck it. Cookie Monster deserves it.
Oh, no. And he's probably going to eat the flag anyway.
Make sure he doesn't eat the microphone also.
No, but on a serious note, I'm green flag for this. This is not the first time we've seen Sesame Street characters be the Grand Marshal for races like this. This is actually really cool that we're getting to see things like this. What's next? Is Patrick Starr going to be the Grand Marshal for the Yellowwood 500 at Talladega in October?
That means the winner of that race is going to be the slowest car.
Cody Ware?
Yep. He's going to be Rocky.
No. Yeah, literally. It's okay, Rocky. You're still very good. No, on a serious note, I'm green flag. This is cool. I feel like a lot of people had kind of a mixed reaction to this, and I mean rightfully so, but this is kind of cool, Animated characters getting their shot to be the Grand Marshal, for a race. Batman has been Batman was the Grand Marshal of Michigan one year. I think Elmo was the Grand Marshal one year too. I don't remember where that was, but this is what my point here I'm making with this. This is actually kind of cool, but this is also, I think this is going to make a lot of people feel old, but it's also going to make them feel like a kid again at this moment in time because A lot. Who here has not watched Sesame Street? Come on, let's be real.
It's impossible to not watch it.
Like, it was engraved into our minds as a kid, and I feel like Cookie Monster. There's going to be probably some. Just watch. There's going to be a really good command too. Just watch. Just watch. Who knows? Maybe he's going to do his spiel right as he says, "Gentlemen, start your engines." Right. So I'm green flag. Checker.
I don't know. What the fuck you want me to say? It's Cookie Monster. What do you want me to say?
It's your older brother.
Oh, for fuck you. Now, for real, I'm checker flag. Obviously, I'm in support. This is a pretty cool moment for Cookie Monster. Now, let's try to keep Elmo off Twitter. If you never mind. Let's get next topic.
No, but on a serious note, this would actually be kind of cool, to promote Sesame Street in a way to, because there have been multiple NASCAR drivers that have actually been on Sesame Street, Bubba Wallace being the most recent. And that's how this announcement got brought about, was Cookie Monster hinted that he was going to be the Grand Marshal on Sesame Street when Bubba Wallace showed up. So this is actually really cool. And I feel like all of us could agree here, this is a green flag, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think I could be the voice of reason here and say, who would not be green flag about this? Who would not be in support of this? I feel like this is a way of Sesame Street and NASCAR trying to do something special later on and make a lot of kids who watch Sesame Street feel old, I guess, but it's just cool all around. I'm all for it. I don't know, huh?
I was gonna say, did you think Cookie Monster, sat down Bubba Wallace and asked him if he wanted to have a cookie party with Alex Bowman after Chicago?
No, I watched the video on this kind of unannounced announcement, but he said, "Ooh, can we have Cookie Monster's like? Can we fit like multiple people in your car?" He's like, "Yeah, I don't see why not." He's like, "Can we stop at every bakery on the way?" It's just I don't know, man. It's just I'm very happy about this, and I think I don't know. Can we get to the next topic before my brain crashes out?
Oh no, I didn't go yet.
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
You good. How is this motherfucker the Grand Marshal and I can't win a race in 2025? What is my life? What is the actual story of my life?
Your life is the story of the Simpsons hit and run in 2025.
Oh my god! AJ spoke the words for me, so green flag.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Channing.
All right, and our final topic of green flag, red flag. NASCAR decided to finish Sunday's race. Decided to finish Sunday's race after a brief rain shower red flagged the Cup race with 14 laps to go. That took nearly an hour to dry the track and caused the race to end in double overtime. Green flag, red flag, checker.
Let's see. Let me check the forecast real quick, because I know Mother Nature was fucking lying to me, but honestly, it's actually, I didn't get to watch the rest of the, of course, I didn't get to watch the rest of the race because I was really tired during that, ending of that race, but, I mean, it's what you expect. This is actually like a long overtime overdue. We haven't had an overtime in a good while, so it's like, I'd say it was an okay finish. Like I'm just really surprised they decided just to try to clear up the track, and go for it. But I think it actually showed some actual good racing towards the end, But all in all, I don't know. I'm on the fence, obviously with flag. I'm happy that we got a good, ending to a race, but then I'm also kind of like, we could have just, just left it and just, ended the race right there from the rain. But you know what? Whatever NASCAR wants to decide they want to do, that's fine. I just had to watch, my driver, go through a Beyblade, scenario. But anyways,
Um, so this is tough. Like, I'm green flag that they waited it out, which I'm all for it because I mean Dover's concrete, and it only took an hour to dry the track, which that's pretty impressive. I mean that rain shower was boom, it was there and it was gone, right? So good on NASCAR for wanting them to finish the end of this race and not call it with 15 to go or 14 laps to go. And but I feel like a lot of chaos ensued at the end of that race because of that. So, I mean, I guess I'll be yellow flag on this one. I really think they should have just called it right there, right then and there. But at the same time, a lot of people would have bitched about it, like, "Oh, we could have easily finished," and we did. They took the time to dry the track, and it was ready to go in about an hour, and we were done before sunset. So, good on NASCAR for making that call. Yellow flag. That's all I need to say. Sonny.
We didn't have 5 overtimes, so you know what? That's a win in my book.
I mean, fair enough.
Yep. I mean, I can see that point. I can see the point of just calling it since there's that little laps left, but I think at the same time it also works in favor for NASCAR since it's only 15 laps. They wouldn't need to finish that much. They could just dry the track and then just finish it off, and then everyone could go home. So, just ensuring that full race distance gets cleared and the track was able to get into the right conditions. So, but I can understand why a lot of people. I can understand why some people would feel upset about it, especially considering the guys that wrecked, like William Byron and Noah Gregson. They were unclear for really solid point stays, and then they were in those wrecks. So, that's I'm primarily green flag simply because we actually got a full race in.
Yeah. Hello?
Eh?
Are we good?
There we go. Yep.
Jenny?
Wait, what's up?
Yeah, it's your turn.
Oh, sorry. On my end, you kind of cut out.
At what part?
Like after you were done talking, AJ, I didn't hear you call my name, so it was just silent.
Gotcha.
I'm probably just gonna say yellow flag.
Yellow flag, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever have anything else productive to say?
I'm an illegal convict.
It's not
What?
funny.
You're a what?
Okay, so backstory before we get into our picks. So,
No.
oh
No.
no, all right.
Let the intro explain itself.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, let's get to our picks for Indianapolis, and we have IRP in the trucks and ARCA this week. But so before we get started, like I mentioned, Connor Zilic won on Friday. Wow, won on Saturday at Dover, and then Denny Hamlin won. Checker and I got our picks correct for Sunday. Wow, that's a shocker and a half.
That is actually a surprise. Wow.
So, with that being said, Channy, who do you got this week?
Okay, these are better picks than last week, and I know what you guys are gonna say. Oh no, what are his picks are gonna be?
Okay.
All right, so kicking things off for trucks, give me Lane Riggs for the win.
What?
What?
No, I'm kidding.
Oh.
And for my
Okay, go ahead.
and for my dark horse, give me Raja Karuth.
Okay, that's pretty solid. I mean, Lane Riggs is a good choice. He's been fairly good on the short tracks over the last year. I mean, he won at Milwaukee last year. That's pretty close to IRP, so I'm cool with that. And your Xfinity?
My Xfinity, give me Sheldon Creed for the win.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
You
Yeah.
picked Sheldon Creed to win a NASCAR race?
Hey, maybe if you look at the number 14 this week as well, Chandler, you can see who. Chandler, you can see who's give me your dark horse.
My dark horse is Anthony Alfredo.
Okay, I can dig that. What about for
And
Cup?
for my cup race, I'm picking Kyle Busch.
In this economy?
Yes.
Oh boy. Well, just so you know, if something happens to Kyle on Sunday, Sonny's going to be after you.
And for my dark horse, give me Noah Gragson.
Okay, is this before or after he pukes in the car?
Both.
How can it be both?
How? How?
It could be before it could be before he throws up and after he throws up. It could be both at the same time.
I mean, I'm not going to question that by any means. Sonny, did you want to go next?
All right, let's go. Let's start with trucks. I'm going Corey Heim because he's probably the only driver that matters in this damn series. And then for my dark horse, why not? Let's go Brendan Queen.
Oh yeah, I forgot Brendan Queen's in the truck race.
Yeah.
In the 07 truck, right?
Yep.
Oh yeah, that's right. I totally forgot about that. Xfinity?
I will go Kyle Larson because I don't see anyone else beating him in Xfinity. And my Xfinity dark horse. Let's see. Now, Brendan Poole Insanity Run. Why not?
Okay. And Cup?
All right, my cup. I'm going with someone who, quite frankly, needs to turn their season around. Someone who has had his demons here, and now they have a chance to return to the track that started it all and get rid of it. The fuck you mean, Kyle Larson? I was gonna pick Tyler Reddick.
I mean, cool with that. And your dark horse?
My dark horse. Let's Ryan Priest. Why not? Let's get him some indie redemption.
All right. I will take Lane Riggs for the truck race. My dark horse will be Caden Honeycutt. He was actually going to be my pick to win, but I feel like this is more suitable for him to be a dark horse. Caden has been on a tear this year, and I feel like that win's coming. Xfinity, I'm going to have to agree and pick Kyle Larson. He's going to be the car to beat. If not, I think Justin Allgaier will be a close second. My dark horse is Anthony Alfredo as well. My cup pick, I feel like I'm going to have a lot of people after me for this one. I will take Brad Keselowski for the win and Zane Smith as my dark horse.
That's not bad.
Well, I mean, the way I look at it is Brad needs his season to turn around. He's good at Indy. I feel like this could be a shot for him to, if not, have a solid top 5 day. If all goes according to plan. And Zane has been really fast on these mile and a halves, and I feel like he could sneak out a win here. So I'm all for it. Checker, who do you got?
Let's start off with IRP. Let's go trucks. I'm taking Corey Heim for the win as well.
Can you guys ever pick someone besides Corey Heim?
Can we be realistic though? In
Fair
this
enough.
scenario, like I said, remember that thing we talked about, that thing we interestingly talked about in Zach's server. If Corey Heim, somehow scores 38 points or just wins, he could literally win the regular season title. Like
Yeah. So if he gets 39 points this weekend, he can lock up the regular season title 2 races early.
So besides all that, my dark horse is actually gonna be Roger Carruth as well. Oh, she will.
Okay.
Yeah. So Xfinity, since we're at the Brickyard, Xfinity, give me Justin Allgaier for the win. I feel like he can match up with Kyle Larson, but I could be wrong. But I'm saying he's gonna have an okay top 10 day, but I think he's gonna get a win maybe. Dark horse, I'm gonna go Eric Almirola out of all of them. I don't know, just I have a feeling we could do something with him, but we'll think about that another time. And for Cup, you know what? I explained this to AJ before, and I think this is a good idea. Why not a hometown? What about why not a hometown victory? How about Chase Briscoe as my Cup pick?
That would be a really solid pick.
And for my dark horse, I'm gonna go for somebody that has a win, but he's been very quiet. But I think he can probably perform well at the Brickyard. I'm gonna pick Josh Berry as my dark horse.
You know, Josh Berry's actually been really good on mile and a half this year. So, and that PPG car is fucking beautiful, man. So I'd be really happy to see the Wood brothers have a good run there. They've been on a tear ever since they've been a part of this Penske Alliance deal. So good for them. And yeah, I mean, real quick, Sonny, I got to call you out here. Why did you call yourself an ex-convict?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Are you sure about that?
I don't. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
Are you sure? Pleads the fifth.
Okay. Well, if we're really gonna do this right now, then I may have had a minor case of Stenhouseism.
Excuse me. You had a case of what?
Stenhouseism. I just punted Stenhouse into the wall. I think he punched me in the face.
Well, it's probably because you didn't watch the tape.
Fair enough.
Fair enough, indeed. All right. Well, as always, that was a great episode of the Couch Racing Chronicles. We're on to Indy. One of my favorite tracks, one of my home tracks, personally. And yeah, that's going to do it for this episode. As always, please comment, like, and subscribe. And remember to drink your fucking water, please. Do I need to say any more? As always, thank you guys. We'll see you guys next week. This is AJ signing out.
This is Sonny signing out.
This is Channy signing out, and we would still like to send our condolences to the families of Ozzy Osbourne and Hulk Hogan at this time.
Yes, of course.
And as always, this is Checker signing off, and we are off and away racing towards Indianapolis. We're riding on the crazy train, everybody. Hope you all have a great week, and we will see you. We will see you afterwards. This has been the Couch Racing Chronicles, and we will see you in the next episode. Goodbye, everybody.